welcome back. We have about 20 minutes. But before we go into the Q&A again, I just want to ask all of you, how do you feel about the discussion just now? Are you okay with the answer? Anything that you are not satisfied, don't worry. You're supposed to continue, ask me. If you find that the answer is not good enough, ask me. I will continue give you the answer. But because of the topic, almost every one of it has a huge answer. I have to answer in every department, but time doesn't permit me to answer everyone in detail. Just in case you have any questions that you are not comfortable, you are not satisfied, you can continue ask me. Is it okay? Yeah. Can we continue? So, yeah, sister, you have a question for me, please. Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Back to the question that sister asked. Well, you know, even in some Muslim families, the issue about women, they're really disregarded. So let's not talk about non-families, non-Muslim families. Like how in Muslim family, would you address, like if they say, you know, because you're a woman, you're supposed to do that, and you're supposed to do that, because they're saying that because of tradition, you know, because of culture. So how would you address that?
Okay. You see, in Islam be able to accept all culture. No problem. As long as that culture doesn't contradict the Sharia of Islam. I mean, doesn't contradict the Quran, doesn't contradict the Sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. If anything that contradicts, we have to remove that culture. Can you understand this, sister? Like my Chinese culture, we talk about drinking alcohol, gambling, live in with a girlfriend. It's a norm. It is a norm. But after embracing Islam, even though that this is norm among my culture, but this culture contradicting the teaching of Islam, I have to remove it.
Sometimes it's still difficult.
I understand that.
I'm not saying for myself, but you know, like so many people, let's say for example marriage, in some island, they would say, you know, because you're my daughter, I want you to marry within the village, you know? So you cannot marry someone from, let's say, he must be Muslim, right? But he must come from the same island and the same village. How would you say that, you know?
My dear sister,
I'm just, because a lot of...
we have to separate Islam and Muslim. Because the time of the Prophet Muhammad, may peace be upon him, there's a hadith, there's a woman that was forced by the parents to marry a man that she don't like. Okay? But the parent forced her to get married and she got no choice to marry. She complained it to the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. She went to complain to the Prophet. You know what the Prophet did? The Prophet nullified the marriage. Why? Because in Surah An-Nisa, chapter number 4, verse number 19 and 20, Allah forbid us to inherit the women without her consent. You can't force the woman to get married someone that she don't like. You can't. As I said earlier, let's say for example, you met someone you want to get married, your parents force you to do this and that. Well, a certain level that you don't have to follow. If they were to force you to do something that outside of your own will, you don't have to follow. But of course, you still have to respect their local culture. But to change the culture, we need to work on, we need to go back to the basic of teaching of Islam. As a Muslim, you need to make sure that your parents understand the Quran and the Sunnah. Once they embrace the Quran and Sunnah with knowledge, if anything that you do, you ask your parents that you don't use your culture first, you talk about others' culture. It's like this race, you don't look at the Chinese, they have such a culture. So when they embrace Islam, can they still continue to do this? The parents say, cannot, you must follow the Quran and Sunnah. Now when it comes to the same issue, happen to your family, you ask your parents, now our culture now is contradicting the Quran and Sunnah. Should we follow our culture or follow Quran and Sunnah? Can you understand this?
But then what would you say,
yes,
the thing about wali, getting permission for a woman from their wali? If the parents don't agree, if we don't agree with what their choice and they don't agree with our choice.
Okay. Sister asks, if you want to marry a man your parents don't like, your parents want you to marry the other women. So ask your father don't want you to marry this woman, want you to marry that woman. So you ask your father, it's better for you to marry that woman. Yeah, tell him. See, you marry somebody that you like, you love. You don't marry somebody that you like, not I like. Number one. Okay? You see, if the wali, if you want to, if for example, you want to marry, your woman, you want to marry that man, the parent don't like. So your father don't want to be wali for you. He have to give valid reason. He have to give why. Why? Otherwise, I will bring it to the court, Sharia court. Okay, I will apply, wali hakim. I will get the wali hakim. Okay, and but the judge will call the father to the court and ask why you disagree. If you can't give good reason, good excuse, the judge will probably scold you. Will embarrass you actually in the public actually. So unless if that man is a drug addict, that man is a terrorist, for example. If you got proof, that is a different issue. But if that guy is a good guy, like look at the guy here, they're a good guy, for example, then how can you say that you don't like just simply because of or he's a Chinese, you don't like Chinese because the eyes is not beautiful? You can't say like that, So the parent, you have up to certain limit you can interfere, but you can't stop the daughter to marry the man that she like, provided you have good excuse. Otherwise, you can't. She can actually apply the court to be the wali hakim. But that doesn't sound good for, it won't be good for the family, right? But what to do? Love is blind. Man, when you fall in love, man, Next questions. Yes, sister.
As now it's happening like they are saying Muslim man can get married with Christian or Jewish, but women can't. And if they can, I know why we can't, but it's still like why they can marry with non-Muslim. Like I prefer them to marry with only Muslim and for us as well.
Okay. Number one, in Islam, you must read the verse in the Quran in Surah Al-Baqarah, chapter 2, verse 221. Start from this ayat, Allah forbid the Muslim to marry the mushrik. We can't marry the mushrik. This is a general statement. Okay. Now, we can only marry the believer. And Allah also said in the Quran in Surah Al-Ma'idah, chapter number 5, verse number 3 and number 5, we can marry the Ahlul Kitab. We can also eat the food that is slaughtered. But this context is referring to the man that we can marry the Ahlul Kitab women, meaning the Jew and the Christians women. We can marry them. Why? Why we can only marry their women? Why our Muslim women cannot marry their men? It's to protect the women. It's to protect the women. For example, if I were to marry a Christian woman, as a Muslim, I have to fulfill my responsibility as a husband. In Islam, I have to fulfill my responsibility as a husband. Now, but if the other way around, I'm a woman, Muslim woman, that sounds good. You, Muslim women, you want to marry a man like this, for example. Okay, now the problem is that this man, because their religion, that doesn't make it compulsory for him, he have responsible towards the family. Can you understand this? Like in Islam, the financial responsibility is on the man, not the women. But the moment the Muslim women marry a non-Muslim man, how? The financial responsibility. This man, he have no guidance. These women have no guarantee, no protection. Now, I'm a Muslim man, I marry a non-Muslim woman, Christian or the Jew. Okay? Now, for me, it's much easier when I married the woman, she come into my family members, my circle of friends, our majority are Muslim. It's much easier for us to convince her into Islam than the other way around. Can you understand this? Now, in Islam, why the women, it's just like, for example, if you, Muslim women, you want to marry a non-Muslim man, you want to eat halal food. He's not eating halal food. Do you think it's easy for you? So these are some of the reasons why that in Islam, this verse is only referring to the man, Muslim man, can marry the Ahlul Kitab, but not the other way around. Is it okay for you, sister?
The thing is that nowadays they are saying already any children they will take father name. So
One more time?
like if he get married, if Muslim man get married with a Christian woman, of course like daughter or son they will bring will take his name and his relation. They are saying like that.
I don't get you.
Again, sir, like now Muslim
Man, married.
get married to Christian women. So like in whole universe already children will take father name and his relation. They are thinking like that. So, but in so many cases, the Christian women are more effective in their children. So they are nowadays from mother religion, not father religion.
Okay. Now, because in different country, different practice. It's a law of the land. You see, for example, if I'm a man, I'm married the non-Muslim, the Ahlul Kitab, the Jew and the Christians. Okay. Now, of course, the wife, when we have children, the wife have the rights to explain Christianity or Judaism to the child. I also have the right to explain Islam to the child. Okay. Now, if we both explain our belief to the child, I think the child will be able to identify which one is truth, which one is falsehood. Yeah.
What she means, like mother has greater influence on kids.
Yes.
Not necessary. Well, mother actually spend more time with the children.
Yeah.
True. When you spend more time, sometimes after you're good and bad. Men spend less time. Usually, when we as a man, when we go home, we'll spend good time with the children. We'll buy them food. We'll entertain them because we only have very limited time with them. So usually the children will be very close to the father for me than the mother. It depends. It's not necessary all the time. It can be both sides. Like for example, I spend very little time with my children, but my children are very close to me compared to my wife. So even though she spends more time, yeah.
You got all the money.
But then again, your entertainment and the mother is necessity.
Okay. Good point. So I hope I answered your question, sister. Inshallah. Any more?
My question is why Islam is not allowed for a woman to become a president? If she has
Be what?
president of the country.
President.
Yeah, if she has the ability and knowledge.
Who says so?
Yeah, I saw it because when I see the Al Islam, there is no female president.
Okay.
I asked there is no female president. Why it is not?
There is not necessary that you can't. Okay. After lunch, remind me the next topic that I'm going to talk. That topic will give you the formula. Whenever people say to you, you use this formula and talk to them. Is it okay? But remind me. The next topic will cover your questions. Okay? Because I think many people have the perception that women can't become the prime minister, you can't become the president because you're a woman. Because there's a hadith the Prophet say, there's a hadith the Prophet say about, the nation led by the women were never prosperous. Okay, they use that hadith. Let's discuss later during the next topic because I'm going to cover that so that you understand why people say no, why people say yes. But it's not something that's straightforward because that hadith is not talking about specifically about the Muslim. It's talking about the non-Muslim. It's talking about the enemy. It's talking about the other group of people. So you can't use that hujjah and talk about, when something that is implicit, you can't make it explicit so simple. You can interpret that, but there are some other interpretation. So you have to respect all interpretation before you talk about which opinion that you choose. We'll come on to that later, the next class, inshallah. Guys, any questions? Yes.
One of the questions is why the women during the prayer they stay behind.
Why women stay at the back?
Yeah.
Short answer, of course, it's come from Allah and Rasul. A different answer is that why women at the back? Number one, because women is stronger than men. The men, you think that you are strong, you are weak, man. You don't believe that? Let's try. If the woman is in front, the man at the back, do you think you can concentrate? Allahu Akbar. When you do rukuk. Man, if women are in front of you, I think you have, it will disturb you a little bit. True or not true? Hello, hello. Hey man, please man, confirm it. Now, number one. Number two, there are some other reason why. You see, when women at the back, when ruku, the women got no problem. Nothing disturb them. Men, when women in front, problem. Number two, because the middle, man, children, mother. So when mother at the back, mother can look after the child when it's in the middle. That's the reason why women's at the back. Not because of the women is less than the men. No. Women at the back because women is stronger than men. Men are weak. You're not happy? So you're going to fight for men's right. No. I mean, what I'm trying to say is that this is what Islam wants us to do. Number two, you don't mix together, because the moment you mix men and women together, like most of religion out there, in Islam, they want to make sure that our intention when we go to perform our salah is solely for Allah. It's mainly for Allah, nothing else. The moment you mix, what will happen? That a lot of people, you know, I don't want to talk about my previous religion. My previous religion is that we like to go to the worship, house of worship, because, man, you are mixing with the men and women. You know, we always sing together. We can, you know, your intention, besides going for prayer, but you go first for something else. In Islam, you can't. If our intention go there to show people that I show to the women, I'm alim, I'm wara, you know, I'm a pious person, I'm praying. The moment your intention is because other than Allah, whatever you do, zero. That's why you separate the men and women, so the men go to perform your prayer, not because of anything else, solely because of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So, men, and just remember the men are weak.
Oh, and, I would like to add.
Yes, sure.
With,
Please. Sister, please.
Yes, I'm a sister. So, actually in Korea, there's a things we call 교회 오빠, 교회 누나. You know what 오빠 is and 누나?
I don't know.
Opa is elder brother, but it's not only for your real brother. It's like the close
Brother.
Yeah, brother.
Okay.
So 교회 오빠, 교회 누나 is many of Korean teenagers who go to church. They go there for like having fun with 교회 오빠 and 교회 누나, because they mix together and they sing a song together, and then they just go there not for worship. They just go there to see
Brother and sister relationship. No. You see, in Islam, I understand, because I was a Taoist or Buddhist before. I was a Christian before. I know, when I was young, I go to the temple once a year, one day before Chinese New Year, because all the women will go to the temple and pray. We also want to pray and wash our eyes. Training. Now, what I'm trying to say is that intention is not right. If you want to go and pray, you go and pray because of God, nothing else. But because of all this, when you mix together, that their intention is become mixed. Yeah, I want to pray, but at the same time, I want to have fellowship with my sister, my brothers, and so on. So this is the problem. So in Islam, we have to make sure that when we go and pray, solely for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Thank you, brother. Sorry, sister. Yes.
How is if there is a question, Muslim claim that there is a question that Muslim claim their religion is peaceful, but if we look that there is in the fact that they are fight each other. Even when we look back at 1,000 years of the history of Muslim, they fight each other. How we gonna answer that question?
Okay. You're supposed to ask easy questions. Okay. Now, let me ask you first. Do you believe that Islam is peace?
Yes.
Yes or no?
Yes.
If you say Islam is peace, why, the time of the Prophet Muhammad SAW, you have so many wars? Why the Muslim country today, everywhere you can find wars, fight, kill, and so on? If you say Islam is peace, then I can go to your house to do whatever I want to do. You cannot fight me. You should say, peace, Brother Lim. No, I didn't say. Finish it or continue? Or pray. Okay. I will answer the question after we continue in the afternoon.
Yes.
Yeah. It's a long answer.
It's a good question.
Yeah. Don't worry. I'm going to give you something that you never heard before. Sambung kedua.